And a good afternoon. You're at Landmark Center. You're in one of our courtrooms, and you're about to hear one of the Christmas stories specifically written for this center by some old guy with no hair. It's being photographed by a young man named Mimo. So come on, sit down, enjoy today's Christmas story from Landmark Center, as written by J.B. Eckert. The story is called Grandpa's Christmas Tree. Daughter Sarah and son Malcolm were coming to Grandma's new senior residence for Christmas brunch and presents. Now that was tomorrow. Today was the day before Christmas. And Grandma still hadn't gotten a Christmas tree yet. Grandpa's Christmas trees were never perfect, and that bothered Grandma a lot. He always had a reason, though. I mean, how hard could it be to go to the Christmas tree lot and pick out the perfect Christmas tree, Grandma thought. Grandpa used to get the tree every year, but Grandpa died spring of this year. She loved Grandpa, but she thought some things would change. She could live the rest of her life exactly the way she wanted it, surrounded by the things she had really wanted. Like one of the most important, a perfect pyramid-shaped green live Christmas tree. Grandma had prepared a wonderful egg and meat dish she would place in the oven half an hour before Malcolm and Sarah arrived. And then, after Christmas brunch, they would gather around Grandma's perfect Christmas tree and open presents and talk and have coffee and cinnamon cupcakes. It would be wonderful. Except she didn't have a tree yet. And she still had to finish dusting and vacuuming. Well, that could wait until after this evening's Christmas Eve services. But that was tomorrow. Today was now. So after breakfast, it was out the front door, down a couple of blocks to the suburban shopping center, and the search began for the Christmas tree. Now, the stands she had seen on previous visits were either gone or getting ready to be gone. To the moving stand, she hustled and began looking at the 7 remaining trees. "Ma'am, I'm gonna close very soon," Christmas tree lot man cautioned Grandma as she hustled onto the lot. "Want to be home for Christmas Eve with the family, you know." And Grandma nodded. Weren't there other trees here before?" Grandma asked, looking over the 7 remaining trees. "Oh, it was a really good year for Christmas trees, ma'am." Man smiled and nodded. "Oh, but there's a few good ones left," he quickly added with positive excitement. She would just tell one of the stories Grandpa would tell when the son and the daughter came over about why he couldn't find the perfect Christmas tree. Fact of the matter was, Grandpa never started searching till just before that special day. And she recalled, what'd he say? Christmas trees should never be perfect. And then he'd regale the family with some wild story about some surveyor being stuck in a blizzard when the tree actually dropped its branches down to surround the cold and shivering person in the midst of a storm. The tree limbs were drooping, but that's perfect because it gave of itself. Or she'd tell the one about the kids who would climb the tree and bend its branches and its very top, but would every year bring a nourishing gift to the tree to say thank you for being the only climbable tree in the neighborhood. Or what was the one he told about the princess who went searching for the perfect tree every year in her miles of kingdom forest, only to find this misshapen tree and make it the tree for the nation, because she learned that the tree had dropped its branches to embrace a motherless fawn, because it had moved still other branches to house a storm-injured nightingale, and further up the tree provided a place for a family of squirrels to create a house and a home when their tree was harvested. Trees who gave of themselves. Well, nice, thought Grandma. But Grandpa's gone, and this Christmas our tree will be perfect. Christmas Eve services were over. Been a cold walk to the church and back, but Grandma was happy. Before midnight, surveying her purchase, Grandma looked at the tree and decided, well, it's not so bad. This year, though, they would have a perfect tree. She'd fix its deficiencies, except, of course, the slightly bent trunk and the missing pointed top. But she decided that lights would fill the empty spaces in the middle of the tree, and she'd emphasize the large drooping branches at the bottom with ornaments. And string would raise up some of the branches, return this specimen to evergreen symmetry. Christmas Day, early afternoon. The aroma of egg bake wafted through Grandma's condo. In a minute or two, the bell would ring, signaling the end of the bake. Children's presents were spread beneath the reconstructed tree. Living dining area was straightened and vacuumed. This would be a good Christmas, Grandma thought, as she surveyed the rooms and the tree she had made perfect. It would be as I always wanted, she thought. The bell on her door awareness system began its quiet alarm. Children were here. She had told them to meet in the reception area, and then she would guide them up and tour them through the building and ultimately into her new home. So out the door she ran, down the elevator, around the corner of the reception room, and she stopped. There was daughter Sarah and son Malcolm, but something was added. There was an extra woman, about Sarah's age, and the extra woman was holding Malcolm's hand. Grandma leaned back around the corner and listened to see if she could get an idea of what was happening. Sarah and Malcolm talked briefly about Grandma's egg bake. It was a tradition at Christmas, they noted. They talked about Grandma taking over Grandpa's death, of selling and moving and settling. And they mentioned the special Christmas gifts each would receive, something the parents had saved from their childhood to be passed on to their children. Pictures, or a scarf, said Sarah, or plastic toys from cereal boxes. That's what I used to get, Malcolm said. And I'll give those to our children. And Malcolm looked at the girl whose hand he was holding, and the girl turned and gave Malcolm a brief but meaningful kiss on the cheek. Sister Sarah smiled. Can't wait to tell Mom and to welcome you into our goofy little family. I have to ask you, the new girl began after the four had eaten the egg bake and opened the Christmas presents and were enjoying the coffee and the cinnamon cupcakes. Oh, you mean, Grandma interrupted, the ornaments and lights and icicles on the floor around the tree? Yes, and the strings and rubber bands hanging from the limbs, the new girl added, and then asked, do we get a chance to decorate the tree? Oh, no. No, Grandma said. I came up and took down all the changes I had made. Grandpa was right. It's just like the trees we've had since childhood, Malcolm explained. A Christmas tree that isn't perfect is the best Christmas tree ever. It's because it's given up its perfectness, Sarah concluded, to help others, just as did the reason we have Christmas at all. So ends the story of Grandma's Christmas. You have a wonderful Christmas.
Holly hanging across the door, neighbors singing tales of yore. It's so close, hardly can wait.